Hi, this is Tom Schuman, and welcome to Music Conversations on Jazz. Back in the year 2007, my friend Wade Erickson and I produced 10 of these, and I thought it would be nice to re-release them. So sit back and listen to our Conversations on Jazz.
Welcome to Music Conversations on Jazz with your host Tom Schuman of Spyro Gyra. Tom's guest for this week is jazz saxophonist Michael Lington. This interview took place at Michael's home in Los Angeles, California, where Tom caught him between his busy touring schedule and some of the other projects he's got going on. Michael recently released his second CD on Rendezvous Records, Dave Kaz's label. The CD is titled A Song for You, which is sure to be a great success. So take a seat and join us for a little music conversation on jazz.
We're here with Michael Lington, and we call this, I guess, a drive-by interview because we just decided to give you a call, and you were home and said, "Come on by." So now we're over here in his posh Hollywood apartment.
Posh?
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's a nice place, man. Very nice. Thank you for having us. Thank you for taking this time.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. Been here for quite some time, but moving out next month. I am going to miss it. This has been a really great setup for me.
Well, the neighborhood you can't beat. I mean, this is the middle of everything here.
It is. It's kind of interesting because when you tell people you live in the middle of Hollywood, they always assume that you go out to nightclubs every night. The reality is that, as you know, Tom, we travel a lot.
Yeah.
So when I come back here, I actually like to stay in, and I like to cook, and I like to just hang out. But it's nice. They have a lot of great little breakfast places and stuff around Sunset and Franklin Village and all of that stuff that I like to go to. But I really didn't pick this place because of being right in the middle of Hollywood. But I walked in and I felt it was a cool thing. The other thing, as you can see, I have a studio as an extension of my living room.
No, this is a very nice little setup you have.
And I tell you why, because there's no doors or a wall, because I don't like to sit in a confined room and work. So I like the fact that it feels very open, and you can still have an area where you have your studio. You can see I've put up sound reinforcement or whatever, and Orlex stuff, and
I love your Argosy console.
Yeah, I know that works out. It's really convenient because you got everything at your fingertips. It's like a little cockpit. You know what I mean?
How long have you been in the States?
18 years.
Ah.
Did you ask me because you felt I have a heavy accent?
I love the accent.
Oh, you
though.
do?
No,
Okay.
it's very refreshing.
It is?
No, I always enjoy it. And I'm going to go and see Peter White after this.
Right.
So there's another accent that I enjoy. It's very calming. It has a calming effect on me.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yes,
Yeah.
I enjoy it. And I love Copenhagen as well.
Yeah.
I've been there many times.
It is a great city.
The people love music there, especially jazz.
But don't you find that mostly in all of Europe that people just are... They love to come out and see live music and just enjoy music. I mean, I remember in Copenhagen we have the Tivoli Gardens, which I'm sure you know. I not only kind of grew up there, I was a part of the marching band, but as I became older, they had a lot of concert on the open air stage. And I remember this has to be probably in 87 or something like that. I saw David Sanborn with 80,000 people on the open air stage in the Tivoli Gardens, and just people just love it.
Yeah.
They just come out and have a good time.
Whoa.
I went back there quite a few times with when I used to tour with Randy Crawford, and we got helicopters going up. I mean,
the police after you or
well, something? Don't tell them where I live. No, but actually interesting. That doesn't happen a lot, but. That is one of the things with Hollywood, obviously living in the city.
It's a noisy town.
It's noisy, and you can imagine me it being in the middle of recording, the take of something, and then you got to wait for the helicopter or the garbage truck to go by.
Well, that's why you were mentioning you don't really like to record here. You like to just put ideas down
here.
Yeah,
I mean, I do actually record some of my sax here. The last album I actually did all live in the studio.
The one before this one?
No, that one. The one you have. A song for you.
Goodness.
Yeah. I recorded my sax with the rhythm section, and then the orchestra was added on top of that after. But I'd love
the orchestra stuff.
Thank you.
The real violas and the real violins.
Oh, it's the real deal. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to tell you that every single note and every single take I did was kept from the original recording.
Yeah.
I fixed a couple of things, intonation and little things here and there.
You're so honest. I love you.
Oh well, but so I had to, actually what I ended up doing is I bought my own microphone a long time ago, a really beautiful Neumann from like 1961.
Okay.
And like the preamp and all that stuff I have and use for recording, so I could go to any studio and record, and then fix stuff at my own studio, and has no change in sound at all.
Well, the room has something to do with this.
You know what? When you record, I hate to tell you, I mean, it's supposed to have, but when you record an instrument in close proximity to a microphone, and the room doesn't have a lot. I mean, if we had done an orchestra and the orchestra was basically 80% room microphones, right? You know what I mean?
So as long as you have the right diffusion, like you have over there with the.
Yeah, as long as you don't have a bathroom sound that adds to the sound or reflects the sound. I mean, I record in a pretty dead environment when I recorded this album, and this is my environment are pretty dead. So I don't know. I couldn't tell a difference.
What's the best time of day for you to record? For instance, is nighttime better for?
No. For myself as a sax player, it's I like early afternoons.
Okay.
Get up,
right.
Not too early, right? Have your coffee and then get into it. But then I'll get into it, Then I really, sometimes it's interesting. I'll start recording something and, it's just a little thing. And I find myself 6 hours later, just done multiple passes. I mean, in multiple things and tried different things out, and time just passes.
Wow. Well, listen, I've been listening to this CD, and I'm enjoying every single note that you play.
Oh, thank you.
You seem to have an amazing tone.
Thank you.
And I was telling Wade on the way over here, Wade Erickson, the guy who's actually brainstorming this whole music conversations, that I'm going to give you credit.
Which is, by the way, you
don't get enough credit.
Which is, by the way, a great idea.
Yes.
I love it.
Well, I love it too, and it's really bringing me into everybody else's world, which is, when we're on the road, we don't really get enough time to actually hang, because we're all really just on our way to the next gig, or we just want to get back to the hotel.
We may say what's happening at the airport.
We can actually get to know each other now,
exactly.
and get something else done at the same time. It really help to promote our music.
Exactly.
But Randy Waldman, did he arrange all these strings?
He did.
Wow,
He did.
what a great job. Randy, if you're hearing this, I love you, man. Fantastic job.
You know Randy, right?
Not by name. Maybe I met him, but I don't remember meeting him by name.
Well, Randy is one of the premier arrangers at this point. You know, from the school of Johnny Mandel and Jeremy Lubbock. I mean, he's a little bit younger than those guys, but arranges in a very classic style. But he has such a hipness to him. Randy has does most of David Foster's arranging and piano playing.
Yeah.
And Randy has also been Barbra Streisand's music director for the past 16 years.
Well,
he was in
that says a lot right there.
Yeah, he was in Frank Sinatra's band at I think 16 or his first gig. I mean, the guy is he's a genius.
Yeah, well, I can hear it. I can hear it in his playing, and I can hear it in his arranging.
Yeah, I thought you knew Randy. Yeah, Randy is an amazing.
Well, like I said, I'm getting out now
Right.
more. And I'm trying to meet everybody, and I'm
Right.
trying to learn more.
Yeah.
Because this is helping me a lot. Even
Right.
these interviews, I like to learn, and I like to find out about my comrades.
Sure. Do you know the album that the last album Ray Charles did before he passed away?
Yes.
Genius
the
Love
duet.
Company.
Yeah.
Genius Loves Company.
Genius Love, yeah.
Randy arranged that album. That was the album
man.
right before that. My album.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm speechless. It's
No,
great body of work.
Let me tell you something. When as we recorded first the rhythm section and myself, and then based on what we had recorded,
Right.
the orchestra was arranged, so it was tailor-made for the band.
It makes total sense.
And when we sat in the studio and recorded the orchestra, I had tears in my eyes. I couldn't,
course.
because I never heard them, the arrangements.
Right.
And then I'm sitting there going, "This is my album.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
unbelievable."
You must be very proud.
I am very proud, and it was a project I wanted to do for so long. I mean, but when you go to anybody in a record company says, "Yeah, I'd like to do an album with a original full, arrangements with a full orchestra," they look at you going, "And how much is that going to cost us?"
Right.
And Rendezvous was very supportive along the way, and especially Dave Koz, who was also making an album with an orchestra. It's a little bit of different arrangements and different concepts, but he was very in tune with what it took and what it was all about, and was able to sort of explain that to his other partners, Hyman and Frank, over at Rendezvous, and they all got it. And
Dave has a great musical mind.
Oh yeah,
Even when you talk to them, he's always in melody of some sort in his
Oh
mind,
yeah, he's great. As a matter of fact, I was just right before you guys showed up. I was just emailing back and forth with him. We just did actually we played the Hollywood Bowl Sunday. Yeah.
Was it the Playboy?
No,
Jazz
JVC Jazz Festival.
Okay, JVC.
Yeah, I was on, and then Earl Clue was there, and Dave and his friends, and we had come up with a little auction to benefit the Grammy Foundation, and it went really well. We raised a lot of money. We basically did what we called a VIP. We called it the Hollywood Fantasy Weekend. It was like a VIP backstage box seats. We flew out. Basically, this very simply, we flew out the winners of the auction. It was an eBay auction, and we flew them out and put them up at the Beverly Hilton. And they came to the show. They sat in a box seat, and we took them backstage, and we wined and dined them, and it was great. Yeah. So we were just emailing back and forth regarding that. Yeah.
Wow. Well, getting back to your sax sound. Now, I hear a little bit of Sanborn, but not too much.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, who are your other influences? Because you have you have really your own style. It's very smooth. It's not too much vibrato.
Okay.
It's just enough. You're very lyrical. You're very
well.
melodic.
You know sax players.
Well,
you've played with one of the finest.
I've been telling. Actually, the last interview I did was with Marion Meadows. And,
sure.
And we were both agreeing that the saxophone is closest to the human voice.
Sure, and it is also named after the human voice, or vice versa? No, it couldn't be, right?
Well, it's closest to sex, I think.
Is that right? Yeah.
Sax was named after sex because it
it
connotates that.
Very
that
good.
Kind
Very
of,
good.
No, it's true. Yeah, I think so. But who are your other influences?
I grew up in Copenhagen, so I was introduced to a lot of interesting players through my Danish, buddies and musician friends. And there was a guy named Earl Bostick. Do you know Earl?
Not by name.
A lot of people do not know who he is, but I learned he's very bluesy, and there was something about his style that really inspired me. Sanborn was obviously a very big influence. He took the jazz and the funk and the R&B and sort of merged them together, and I thought that was perfect for me. That's what I really connected with. Cannonball Adderley, of course, among I think every sax player was influenced by.
Is it mostly alto that you prefer to play, right?
Yeah, my first sax was alto. Then I went to tenor and swore I would never play alto again. And here we are. I basically only played. I play all saxes and I've done session on all of them, but I mostly do alto at this point.
Yeah.
All my albums are all alto.
Well, it's a very sweet sounding
Well,
instrument.
thank you. I mean, to be honest with you, it could be very hard to sort of identify instrumentalist. Do you know what I mean? And I just felt, for one thing, is I feel a real strong connection to the alto sax. I can't tell you why, but it just happens to be that way. But I also think that having one voice, so to speak, sort of maybe be a little easier to identify a sound or a person's sound or an artist. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
So it has a little bit to do with a combination of those things. I just happen to pick the alto because I connect the most with that.
Well, and I heard, I forget what cut it was off your record. I heard a soprano, and I'm like, oh, and now he's working in the soprano. And then I looked at it, and it was Dave Carr's
Yes,
playing.
we did a duet together, yeah.
And then I said to myself, yeah, that does sound like Dave.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, though, is as sweet as Dave can make a soprano sound, I got no business playing soprano.
Well, you're among a lot of monsters here. I mean, gosh. You've got some great players.
Yeah, I had a terrible rhythm section, though.
Right. Vinny Colaiuta.
Yeah.
Brian Bromberg.
Yeah.
Dean Parks.
Yeah.
And Randy Waldman, of course.
Yeah, we couldn't. There was
Louis Conti.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Great record.
The A guys weren't available, so we had to.
your music, I mean, you didn't write anything on this one, but
Right.
you have a lot of your own material.
Basically all my
The other
previous
CDs.
albums are all my own material. This was a very particular concept CDs. This basically the reason for me making this CD was to create a classic album. You know,
Yes. Well, that
an
it is.
album that has no time, right? And
Exactly.
it seems current today. In 30 years, it could be just as current. And I took songs that not only has a very, very strong impact and had a very strong impact on me, but they're also kind of, the songs in themselves are kind of timeless, you know?
All in Love is Fair.
Right.
She's Always a Woman. Billy Joel. You know, Leon Russell. Forget it. You got to do a Leon Russell.
Of course
song.
you do.
A
And
song.
interestingly enough,
you named the CD a song for you.
yeah, and interestingly enough, as we're picking these songs, which pretty much all happen to be from the 70s, except Both Sides Now, which is from the 60s,
Oh gosh.
we pick songs also when we realize, wait a minute, all of these songs are all from singers and songwriters.
Exactly. Yes.
So
Both Sides Now has got to be. I mean, I didn't even get to that track yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh,
we
wow.
got till.
Yeah.
I think we got up to Still Crazy After All
Okay,
these
yeah,
years.
you gotta. I mean, you got a little something extra there. I mean, Both Sides Now just turned out beautifully. I mean, the orchestra. You should listen to what Randy did on that song.
So your website is michaellington.com?
michaellington.com.
Okay, I will be definitely going there.
You will.
Because like I said in the beginning, this is a drive-by interview. I didn't really get a chance to research enough. But just meeting you and hanging out with you is a really great thing. What's this? The Michael Lington Classic Toro cigars. Get out of here.
Did you not know? But actually, those are actually
Cameroon.
That's interesting that you should pick that box. That is for our new line of cigars. Those are samples. This is our classic line.
You're just full of surprises.
Yeah, this is my classic line of cigars right here, right?
Unfortunately, I do not smoke.
Well, that is a shame.
But this is.
And September 10th, we are launching a new line called Connoisseur.
I will be darned.
And these are test blends for.
Can you believe this guy? Michael Lington. Oh,
you didn't know that either.
Is this on your website as
well?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I have a separate website for that.
Smells great.
Yeah, it's the Spanish cedar. The box is Spanish cedar. MichaelLingtonCigars.com.
Robusto and Toro.
Yeah.
Oh
so these are actually you can see these are unmarked cigars. These are test blends for the new line.
Now, did you roll these yourself?
No, that I didn't. Yeah.
Have you ever
Ecuador? They're rolled in Ecuador.
Oh,
they're Dominican tobacco rolled in Ecuador.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great, man.
Isn't that fun?
I wish I was a smoker now. I'm not going to get started, but it's nice to have some other kind of hobby.
It is. Really, I mean, it's something that I love to do.
I like working with wood myself.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I like building things.
Oh, my
like that console over there. I mean, it would be something that I would want to build.
Really
myself. Yeah.
interesting, because my dad is a master carpenter, and he has his 50th anniversary
I gotta meet
next
this guy.
year. Yeah.
What's his name?
John Lington.
John Lington. Wow.
Yeah, and I mean,
was he ever into playing an instrument? Is he?
He's a saxophonist also.
Really?
Oh yeah, actually. It's interesting because my first instrument was the drum, the marching drum.
Okay.
I was a part of the marching band in the Tivoli Gardens, and then when I was going to pick an instrument for the orchestra, we were trying to decide what instrument, and his suggestion: why don't you pick the clarinet or the saxophone, and that way I can sort of help you and teach you a little bit in the beginning, you know.
Yes.
So that's how I actually ended up playing the saxophone.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear him play too. Is he into jazz? Or
He's not. He never made it a profession. He loved working with wood, became a master carpenter. So he just plays a little bit on the side, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
You'd think a master carpenter or somebody like that would be into violin or bass or cello.
Yeah, he was a furniture maker.
I
see.
Yeah,
and one of the things he loved to do was to work with exotic woods like teak and mahogany and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So have you enjoyed any of his work? Is his house full of his own?
Yeah, he has a few pieces there that he made.
Does he have anything here of yours?
No,
that
I
he
never,
gave you?
been able to import a piece of furniture over here. It's kind of a big deal. But it's interesting because the way. I mean, it's a different day today. When he started out, almost 50 years ago, everything was handmade, and they spent hundreds of hours on a piece of furniture, and they had no machines. It was all hand tooling and hand stuff, and these pieces are essentially what becomes antique furniture, very, very expensive antique furnitures, but today it just doesn't work like that anymore. People go to to IKEA and buy a piece of furniture, have it for a year, and then throw it out. So he actually
they don't even make it for you anymore. You got to take it home and put it together.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So that's just the way it is. So he became more into just general construction, but he was actually an unbelievable furniture maker.
I have a great memory of the Montmartre.
You do?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Well, first of all, I went to Europe in 1976 to promote a record with a band that I was with at the time called Birthright.
Right, okay.
And I went and I saw Kenny Drew with Niels Orsted Pedersen duet at the Montmartre. And it was an amazing evening.
Wow.
And I actually got to meet the Viking, the bass player, Niels Orsted Pedersen, and he was a sweetheart.
Oh, he's a great,
And then later on, many years later, of course, Spyro Gyra got a chance to play there.
At Montmartre?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And I don't even know if it's still there, but after we were done with our concert, it became a disco.
Yes, it does. And it did, and I was one of those guys that would show up after the, and go to we would go for the jazz concert and then stay in the stage. Remember how they cleared the stage and then it became a disco? Yeah,
right.
It's no longer there. It hasn't been there for many years.
That's too bad.
The guy, you remember the guy that owned it, Jazz Kai? They called him Jazz Kai.
I don't know if I ever actually met him.
Yeah, he passed away, and then somebody took it over, and then it just kind of fizzled out. But
I remember the piano. There, and I don't remember the name of the piano, but Kenny Drew said, go up and play the piano,
Right.
And I think it was Danish. It was a Danish piano.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. It was not a Steinway or a Yamaha or anything like that.
Right.
It had a very strange name, but it was a beautiful sounding piano. It was, maybe it was German or something like that, but oh my goodness.
Wow, that's great.
I just wish, and I was so young at the time, I didn't think to write that
You know
down.
what's interesting, actually, the one and only time I met Niels Henning Ørsted Petersen was I was a part of a competition for sort of the young generation of jazz musicians in Denmark, and he was one of the judges.
Oh.
And guess where the competition was?
Oh, was it at
On Montmartre? Yeah, so they almost said I met him there too.
Ah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's funny how so many people have passed on, and it just seems so lonely nowadays because I've gotten to meet so many great musicians, and
isn't that great though?
That's why I'm kind of joining with guys like you and Marion Meadows and Dave Koz, and you're the new legends. You're the new guys down there.
I appreciate
that are going to be remembered
that.
forever. And like you said, this is going to be around way
Tom,
past your lifetime.
So, in order to be a classic, I think it's 30 years. So
Yeah.
you and I are going to have to talk in 30 years to see if I have achieved what I set out to do.
All you have to do is don't give up.
Right.
Don't put the instrument down.
Okay.
Always keep playing.
Yeah.
And I know the industry is tough, and it's always going to be tough.
Yeah.
But
you know what, though?
They don't make it easy on us.
That's true, but that's the industry. The reality is we do what we do because we love to do it, and we'll always do it.
And the industry wouldn't be there if it wasn't for us.
Exactly.
So
now I'm working on a new album.
Yes.
Which is
that's my next question.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Tell me about it.
I'm working with Michael Sembello.
Oh.
You know Michael?
Not personally.
Do you know who he is?
Yes.
I mean, a lot of people, know him because of that hit song he had, "She's a Maniac." But he's actually an unbelievable writer. I mean, has written some of the greatest hit songs of the past 20, 30 years. Him and his brother Danny, and we're working on an album that I'm really, really excited about. That's going to have. He is reconnected with the Jobim family down in Brazil, and goes down there a lot. And there's a lot of sort of Brazilian influences, and actually he has asked me to come down there to be a part of that whole scene and continue writing down there. But we've written a lot of great music, and I'm very excited about it.
Well,
it's gonna be a fun project.
Anything Brazilian is.
Yeah.
If somebody asks you to be a part of a Brazilian project, you must have your stuff together, because you really have to be a sensual player. You have to be an in-tune player. You have to have your tone together. Your timing has to be perfect. Which I call the 3 T's. For any saxophonist, you have to have a tone, timing, and tuning.
Yeah, it's true. You know what? That's very true.
And for all those things, you get an A+, because I've been listening to every note, man. It's fabulous. Everybody out there listening, please go out and get Michael Lington's "A Song for You." It's a gorgeous record.
Thank you so much. It was really, it was such a pleasure making this album, and it was such a pleasure working with a guy like Randy, who does something that I look at him and going, how did you do this?
Yeah.
I remember on "A Song for You."
Yes.
We have talked, of course, we had meetings about what we wanted to do with the different songs and how we wanted to what genre we wanted it in and all this stuff. But I think we were in the studio recording with the rhythm section for "A Song for You," and there's a whole orchestra intro.
Yeah.
And then it goes into a little sort of rhythmic intro, and then it breaks down. Mm-hmm. But none of that was written. I'm not sure if he didn't get around to it, he had a different vision about it or whatever.
Yeah.
But we're in the studio, and I said, "Oh, Randy, on "A Song for You," I'm hearing this kind of this orchestra intro, and then maybe the strings will sustain, and then the band comes in, and then it breaks down, and it just becomes piano. I mean, he says, why don't you guys just take a coffee break? I mean, I'm talking about in less than 5 minutes.
Right.
He wrote that intro.
And did he play it on a string sound at the time before the
No,
actual
he stood
orchestra?
behind the mixing console. It was all up here.
Well, he tapped into your idea.
Yeah,
And
yeah. He said, and he
did it.
stood behind the mixing console with a piece of music paper on top of the meter bridge and wrote it all out like that.
For the orchestra.
For the orchestra, for the band.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
that's immediate. That's immediate. That's the way it should be.
I what do you do? I mean, you just look there and don't know how he does such a thing.
I hope I get a chance to speak to Randy Waldman.
Interestingly enough, also he has become. I mess around a little bit with the helicopters, flying helicopters.
Oh, you're kidding?
No, and he's a helicopter instructor, so he's teaching me how to fly a helicopter.
Well, that's a good thing to have in L.A. now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I wondered if he, if he's done any movie scoring or.
Oh, he does. He does. Whenever he does the arranging or the composing, I don't know, but he does all the sessions for as a pianist for 75-80% of all the major motion picture scores.
Wow.
He's very used in that. He's very in.
Well, that's why
in
he's
tune
so
with
immediate.
that. Yeah, very in tune with that world. Yeah, as a matter of fact, the whole orchestra was basically from that world.
Wow.
The people that he works with. Yeah.
When you find him
But a lot of saxophonists will also say that it's very important to achieve your own sound on the saxophone.
Which is a challenge, you know.
It's a big challenge.
To try to get your own identity.
At what point did you, in your development, did you achieve your own sound, that you feel that you've achieved your own sound?
When I was happy with what it was and I was no longer seeking, because there's always this syndrome between sax players. We all laugh and talk about it, is that we have a sound and it's fine. Then we go to the music store for sheet music, right? Mm-hmm. Or to buy some new reeds. Mm-hmm. And we end up seeing all the mouthpieces, and we end up getting into this zone. We end up trying it all and confusing ourselves so much that the stuff we had before that worked all suddenly don't even work. We hate that too. I mean, we're very hard on ourselves with our sounds because we're constantly looking for that perfect sound. Mm-hmm. But I think time and maturity as a person and in your playing just kind of develops that. For me, I think my sound happened on the actually not that album but the one before, the Stay With Me album.
Oh, really? That recent?
Yeah.
That recent?
Yeah. I think that my Everything Must Change album, I think my sound was close, and there was certain tracks there that I was really happy with. But for me, the Stay With Me album was really where I felt that there was a consistency between all of the songs. And I know probably regular people can't hear that, but for me, just listening and saying, I've kind of gotten to a place where I'm super comfortable with my sound, who I am, my identity as a sax player.
Yeah.
and I think really I'm very pleased with the way my sax sounds on this album.
Wow.
A song for you. I mean, just the way it was mixed and
Yes.
EQ'd and it's.
And who was the one mixing this? I can't read quick enough.
Oh, Woody.
Okay.
Woody Woodruff.
Oh, Woody Woodruff. Oh,
Yeah.
Now there's a popular name. I've heard his name.
Yeah,
many times.
he actually won a Grammy for mixing Natalie Cole's
There he is, yeah.
Unforgettable.
Jeffrey Woody Woodruff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Castle Oaks and Woodland Hills.
Sure, yeah, that's where we recorded
the famous studio.
Yeah, that we did the tracking there, and then
Mhm.
we did the orchestra at Entourage.
And Entourage.
Yeah.
I see that too.
Yeah.
What a great project.
Yeah, it was fun.
Do you ever suffer from a post-project depression? When it's done, it's like, oh,
Well,
I don't want it to end, you know?
Yeah, there's that, and then there's the you get too in it,
Yeah.
where
yeah.
you're like, oh,
You
wait
need to
a minute.
separate yourself.
You
from
need,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I could do this better, or maybe this, or maybe that, and and you still know you have a little time for last minute changes in case that you wanna change something before you master it, and you kind of get in your own way sometimes,
Right.
But then I actually after it's mastered, I get relieved
Yeah.
because I know that
But
whatever it is at that point, that's what it's going to be,
How do you choose your mastering?
Well, the
I mean,
mastering.
there's so many mastering
Yes,
studios now.
you try to look at the project. What
Right.
is it that you want to achieve with it? This is a very acoustic album.
Doug Sachs.
Yes.
That's
And
Songwook Nam.
Doug's-
Songwook Nam.
Yeah, that's Doug's assistant up there at the mastering lab. But Doug Sachs is Al Schmidt's.
Oh, okay.
The only guy that masters for Al Schmidt, and Al does a lot of acoustic albums, a lot of orchestral albums. So he kind of knows what he's doing when it comes to that. Now, if we were doing a rock project or a pop thing, you wouldn't go to him. You would maybe go to somebody else, But you just do a little research and find out what it is that you want to achieve.
Yeah, I never really put a lot into the mastering, but nowadays you really have to.
Oh,
make
it's important
sure
stuff.
It's the right guy, in the right place.
It's very important stuff, mastering.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful, beautiful sounding CD, and I'm so glad that I got a chance to actually spend a little time talking with you. Tell me about your band.
Yes.
Who's in your?
Actually, Ricky Lawson.
Oh,
playing
you're
drums.
kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I saw you thanked him, and you thanked Roberto Valli, an
Roberto
old friend
Valli,
of
an
mine.
old buddy of yours, huh? Yeah.
How's Roberto's? He lives here too now.
He does. He lives up. He lives up in the valley, and he's just doing great. He's been with me for a long time.
He's a busy guy.
Oh yeah,
Busy
always,
guy.
always.
Great singer too.
He
you
is?
heard him sing?
No, maybe I should let him sing, huh?
Oh man, he's killing singer.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So
And surfer.
Yes.
Mono.
Yes.
Surf, what do they call it? Monoboard. Or whatever?
No, he does the what do you call that? The longboards.
Yeah,
the
the
longboards. Yeah. Kim Hansen. Do you know Kim Hansen? He's a keyboard player from Denmark, actually, that lived over here for quite some
Sounds
time.
familiar.
Yeah. And then a guitarist named Thomas Organ, who's also a wonderful guy. And actually, it's very exciting. We're getting ready to head to Guantanamo Bay, which I know you have done that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, that jazz festival.
Well, I played in Guantanamo for the USO.
Yes.
With Spyro Gyro.
Correct,
yeah.
and that's what we're getting ready to do.
You're going to do the USO there?
Is it a USO? I don't know. It's
or
for
is there a
it's
jazz
for
festival? I think there's one in Havana, isn't there? A jazz festival in Havana? Cuba?
No, this is in Guantanamo at the airbase or
okay.
whatever
Okay.
the thing over there.
I wasn't aware of that.
Well, they call it a jazz festival. So,
Okay.
but I think it's what you did.
right.
How many years ago would you say you did it?
Oh, this is had to be 10 years ago.
Okay.
At least.
It was for the troops, right?
Yes.
And how was that?
Are you kidding? They are the greatest audience that
They
you'd
are.
ever ask for.
Really?
They appreciate so much.
Wow.
Anything that is indigenous to home,
Right.
It reminds them of, when they're home with their families. Of course they're going to go nuts over you.
Right.
Yeah,
we're excited. We're going to leave in a couple of weeks.
Oh, you're going to love it. You're going to want to go to Iraq next.
Oh, is that right? Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody says, "Oh, it's too dangerous," but you're going to be protected.
I'd go. I would go.
I would too.
I would go.
My wife would have a fit, but I would go.
I would go.
At the drop of a dime.
Right.
I would go.
So we're getting ready to head over there and do that. So I'm excited about that. And we still have we're doing the Catalina Island Jazz Festival this year, and And there's some cruises going on at the end of the year, and then
do you go on those? There's like bands that have a bunch of other saxophonists and guitar players.
Yeah. The full. Actually, you're going to be on a cruise. You're going to be.
Well, we're going to do that thing at Puerto Rico Bay, wherever the in Puerto Rico before it takes off. We're not actually going on the cruise.
Oh, okay.
But
I got
Dave
it.
Koz and Friends.
Yes, that one. Yeah, see, I was on that one last year. That's great. It's fantastic, yeah.
I would like to be, for instance, the house band that plays with everybody,
You know what? It's great, yeah. They're really good, and they learn a lot of music in a very short amount of time, but it works out really well.
But that's why Spyro Gyra, I guess, doesn't get asked, because we're not the house band.
Yeah.
I mean, if we decided that we wanted to be the house band and we played everybody's music,
I don't know
then
if that
it would work.
Yeah, but
it's a good thing to have.
Those are fun always. Getting ready also to go to Las Vegas and do something out there. So just.
Hey, let me give you my card because that's where I live.
Sure. Oh, you are. Oh, we'll be there on the 15th, September 15th.
I'm coming.
Will you come?
I am coming.
Great.
I mean, I'll double check my schedule, but
right.
Please call me.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely.
But listen, Michael, it's been great talking with you. I know I've already taken too much of your time.
No, never.
And I want to thank you for taking time to do this.
My pleasure.
Anyway, thank you, man.
Oh, my pleasure. Great. My pleasure.
Up next week on Music Conversations on Jazz, Tom Schuman talks with jazz saxophonist Marion Meadows. With his latest release, Dressed to Chill, on Heads Up International, Marion discusses the freedom he has found at Heads Up to create the music he loves, as well as the music processes and experiences that have formed this great sax man's creative mind. We hope you join us next week for another Music Conversation on Jazz.